Unless your idea of a perfect date is getting kidnapped, like I'm not coming to your place for a first date. It's just no. And he was like, well, first of all, my name is not blank, it's actually blank. And I was like, hey y'all, it's Thomasina. Welcome back to my channel. I am filming on this beautiful Easter Sunday. I'm out at the park as always. Although I'm happy to see everybody out basking in the sun, I kind of miss just having the park to myself. It sounds selfish, I know, but whatever. So it's finally getting warmer and hot girl summer is upon us, even though Megan Thee Stallion is happily taken, but I am here to help. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys a few tips on how to safely date in New York City. As it gets warmer and everyone begins getting their vaccinations, I'm thinking that you guys are going to be a lot more likely to be going on dates. Although online dating is all the rage nowadays, meeting in person is still very possible. So if you encounter someone in person and you guys hit it off and they ask you out on a first date, I would say in that moment, tell them, you know,
like, let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you, let's exchange numbers.
Or whatever form of contact you're most comfortable with. And then when you get home, you do your research, you do your digging. You want to try to find them on social media, you want to try to find them on LinkedIn. I personally really prefer LinkedIn because it just shows like the professionalism side of them. If that makes sense, the professional side of them. But yeah, you want to try to find them on LinkedIn, look up their phone number online to see if the number that they gave you matches the name that they gave you as well. You want to see if you can find any police reports, any potential felonies. Basically you want to make sure that this person checks out, and you want to make sure that this person isn't like some, you know, rapist or like former sex offender. Not that you're not allowed to date former sex offenders, but that's just something you want to know before going on your first date so it's not a surprise. A quick story time, my first date was with a guy that I did not do this background research from, and it was my very first date like in New York City. So when we met up, I jokingly said, you know, in the middle of our conversation, you know, like, tell me a secret. And he was like, well, first of all, my name is not actually blank, it's actually blank. And I was like, we had talked for about a week before we actually met in person, and during that time he had never told me what his actual name was. I would just assume that it was the same name that I saw on the app. But yeah, he told me on our first date that that was not his actual name, and he gave me the backstory as to why he used a different name on his profile. When I tell you guys, that story was mind-blowing. Like, that is not something that you would think that you would learn on a first date, but it happened. So that's why I'm telling you guys, do your research. Do your research. If you meet on a dating app or Instagram, social media, still want to do your research, but with meeting on social media, you kind of have a little bit more information when doing your research. If you meet them on social media, an app or whatever, obviously they have photos, and so what you can do is you can Google image search their photos just to see if these photos have been used on other accounts, if other people are using these photos, because obviously, you know, there are a lot of catfish on the internet, and you want to make sure that you're not going on a date with one of them. So you can do a quick Google image search, again going back to trying to find them on LinkedIn, trying to find them on Instagram, just trying to find them anywhere that you can. You want to make sure there are no like criminal records out there that you would be wary of. You want to look at their tagged photos. I always look at the tag photos because, you guys, even if everything checks out, the name matches the pictures and everything like that, some of these catfish will go as far as creating fake profiles for these people. And you can always kind of tell because the photos that they posted, they will have like maybe 5 photos on their profile, and all the photos will be recent, like within the last month or two. And so in that case, you always want to look at their tagged photos, because if they're not tagged in any photos, there's kind of a red flag. And why are all these photos fairly recently? Like, are you trying to play me for a fool? So that always marks a red flag in my head, and honestly I haven't been wrong about that thus far, so I would just be weary of that. Pay attention to the tagged photos as well. Pay attention to how recent the photos are that they've posted if you do happen to find them on social media. You've met this person online and they ask you for an in-person date, you always want to make sure that you set up a time to do a virtual call with this person, whether it's FaceTime or whether it's like a video call through the app. You want to do that first just to kind of make sure, you know, this person is who they say they are. You can see them face to face, you can speak to them, you know they're an actual human being. And another thing, if you ask a guy or girl or whoever you're talking to virtual chat you before meeting in person and they have an issue with that and they give you like an attitude or like just whatever, that is an automatic red flag. It's an automatic no-go, because if you can't even give me the bare minimum of a video chat before meeting, if you can't even consider my safety and why I would even ask you to do that, you're not the person for me. So cut it. Don't even take it any further. And you never know, even if they are the same person like that they say they are, some people use really old photos on their profiles, and so video chatting just allows you to get a in real time image of what they look like. So like you might not be attracted to what they look like now, even though that's really like shallow or whatever, but you like what you like. It is what it is. So it's also beneficial to just see them firsthand virtually before meeting in person and wasting each other's time because you don't find them attractive because of what they look like in this moment. So after you've done your I can never say due diligence. Say that 5 times fast.
Due diligence, due diligence, due diligence, due diligence.
Oh, that was actually not that bad. Anyways, after doing your due diligence, then you can go about accepting their request for a date. So when picking a location, you want to make sure it's somewhere in public. Like a lot of guys or girls or whoever you're dating, but in my experience, some guys will like say, oh, why don't you come over to my place and I'll cook you dinner. That is a no-go for me for a first date. That's too intimate. Like I'm not coming to your place for a first date. It's just no. To me, it's not being precautious. So yeah, you want to make sure it's in a public setting where people can see you if anything were to go down, where people can hear you if anything were to go down. And I would also recommend that you have this first date during the day. You know, it's safer, especially in New York City. You want to limit the amount of time that you spend walking at night by yourself or walking at night with a gentleman you barely even know, just because anything can happen. Best practice is to have your first date in public where people can see you and during the day where it's broad daylight. You want to make sure you let at least one person know that you're going on a date. You want to let them know who you're going on a date with. You guys might think this is dramatic, but there have been so many cases of like women meeting up with men that they've met on the internet and then their family never hears from them again. And I'm not trying to scare you guys, but I'm trying to like knock some sense into your head that you guys have to be safe. This is not a game. Your life is not anything to play with. And so while dating can be fun and adventurous and spontaneous, you still want to make sure that you're playing the game smart. So yeah, you want to make sure at least one person knows where you're going. I think it's helpful to send them a quick, screenshot, one photo of this person, so just in case you go missing, they have something to present to the popo if need be. Hopefully it doesn't get to that point, but again, we want to stay 5 steps ahead. Share your location with a close friend, just so you know they can track you, and just make sure you're safe. You just want to be extra precautious. New York City, depending on the kind of guy that you're dating, it's not common that the guy will offer to pick you up from your home to like take you to the date, mostly because a lot of men don't drive and there's such easy access to public transportation, so that's not very common. But if you encounter a guy who does offer to pick you up, I would personally say politely decline that offer and just let them know that you will meet them at whatever location you guys decide on, just for your safety. Again, this is your first time meeting this man, you barely know him. I mean, unless your idea of a perfect date is getting kidnapped, I would say just meet them there. Just take public transit or Uber, whatever. I don't think it's the smartest idea to have them pick you up for a first date. Even though it's so romantic, like the idea is very like chivalrous to have them pick you up, but for safety's sake in New York City, just meet them there. Maybe the second date, once you've like realized they're a genuinely good person, then that could happen, but yeah. My final tip for you all, although you're doing your research and you're vetting them and you're finding their social media, I personally think that you guys should not connect on social media, meaning like don't follow each other. I personally don't think you should connect on social media until after like the second or third date, just because you're able to, like if you go on a first date and you guys don't really mesh well like you thought you would have, there's not really a connection there, then if you guys are not connected on social media, you don't have to go through that awkward phase of like mutually unfollowing one another. Just to like save yourself that awkward moment, just don't connect on social media until you guys establish kind of like a stronger connection. And also it will like help, you know, avoid any kind of conflict, because I know back in the, ooh, my leg is going numb. There was this one guy that I was dating, and I would just like post random stuff on my social media, random stuff on my story that I could relate to. And there was a couple of posts that he looked at and he thought that they were like pertaining to him, and so he like caught a little attitude or whatever. So to avoid all of that, don't connect on social media until you guys are like both mutually comfortable doing so, and you feel like there's a strong enough connection that may last beyond like 2 dates. Ultimately, a lot of people say dating in New York City is terrible, it's trash, the men suck, the people suck, it's so hard, everybody's so busy. And I think that you have to change, when it comes to dating, you really have to change your mindset. If you think dating sucks, then your experience dating is gonna be sucky. But if you think that dating is fun and spontaneous and you like getting to know new people, and it's an opportunity to, and you see it as an opportunity to like network and just make and foster like genuine connections, then you will have a more positive experience dating. So I think just ultimately speaking to everyone, change your outlook, change your mindset. Don't go into it thinking, oh, I'm gonna marry this person, but go into it thinking, oh, I'm gonna connect with a new person today. Maybe we'll hit it off, maybe we won't, but ultimately I'm excited. I'm putting myself out there and opening my heart, my mind, and my spirit to new connections, and leave it at that. And if you guys hit it off, that's great. And we just go on about our lives. There are no hard feelings, no like awkward moments, and I think that that's the best, where you can just go on a date, have a good time, and then never see each other again. And that's gonna happen. And you just have to be ready for that, be prepared for that. You're not gonna find Prince Charming in every guy that you meet. But yeah, it is a beautiful day here in Brooklyn. I'm so excited. I'm gonna show you guys my view, what it looks like. Yeah, so pretty much everyone is outside today. It's about 61 degrees, which really feels like 70 something degrees outside. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. Remember, be safe, enjoy your life, live your life to the fullest, but also be smart and be safe. I wish you guys happiness, and I wish you guys all the love in the world. And I hope you do find that special someone if you haven't already. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye! 'Cause I'm not just a pretty girl.